There is a specific kind of tired that you know all too well. Your shoulders carry a heavy weight that no amount of physical rest can ever completely remove. The house is silent. You stare at the empty ceiling. And in that quiet darkness, right before you finally drift off to sleep, the heavy anxiety begins to slowly creep into your mind because your brain is trained to panic. You feel the crushing pressure of bills and obligations pressing against your chest. Sleep does not fix this deep exhaustion. You work harder than anyone else around you. You put in the long hours. You read the books and set the massive goals. While the rest of the world wastes their precious time on meaningless distractions, you are grinding away in the silence. But the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving a powerful car with the emergency brake pulled tight. I am here to tell you a profound truth. This is not a lack of effort. You do not have a motivation problem. You do not lack discipline or intelligence. Society teaches you to burn yourself out chasing money. Millions of men work themselves into an early grave and still die absolutely broke because they told you that endless hustle is the only guaranteed path to a truly rich life. But they lied to you. The titans of industry knew a secret that the masses refused to believe. Wealth is not something you chase down until you collapse. Wealth is magnetized. It is the natural and inevitable byproduct of a disciplined mind operating on a very specific frequency. You do not get what you want in this life. You get exactly what you are. And until you elevate the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, no amount of physical labor will make you rich, because you must command your reality from the inside out. Before we dive deeper into this law, I want to plant a seed in your mind. There is something hidden from the public. It is something discovered not in a motivational book, but inside a highly classified laboratory. It is a biological secret funded by elite billionaires and verified by top-tier neuroscience, and it finally explains something I know you have felt deep inside your soul. This secret explains the frustrating gap between the wealth you visualize and the reality you wake up to. I will reveal exactly what this is before we finish today. But first, you must understand why the financial deck was stacked against you from birth. So hold this question in your mind right now. What if your struggle to attract abundance is not a lack of hustle, but a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? What was the last thought you fell asleep with last night? Was it worry over a failing project? Was it frustration over an unexpected bill? Was it a deep and silent panic about your future? Your brain does not shut off when you close your weary eyes. Your subconscious mind is a tireless contractor who never sleeps, because it only exists to take the orders you give it in your final waking moments. The emotions you feel right before sleep are the exact blueprints you hand to this contractor. If you go to sleep in fear, your mind spends the next 8 hours building a reality of absolute scarcity, and you wake up feeling defeated before your feet even touch the floor. You are literally programming your own failure while you rest. The drifter allows this to happen every single night without question. The drifter is a victim of his own unchecked thoughts. He lets the external world dictate his internal state. When the bank account is low, he feels poor. When the obstacles arise, he feels defeated. And because he feels defeated, he broadcasts a frequency of lack into the vast universe, while the universe responds by law to deliver more lack and more painful defeat. This is the invisible cycle of poverty. But you are not meant to be a drifter. You are called to be a creator. The creator understands that the mind is a sacred temple. You must become the ruthless mental gatekeeper of this quiet temple. You do not allow fear to walk through the front door. You do not entertain thoughts of poverty or limitation, but instead you act as if the wealth is already yours, because in the unseen realm it already is. You have been operating on a frequency of pure survival. When you operate in survival mode, your vision narrows. You only see the immediate danger. You only see the terrifying bills and the lack and the physical exhaustion, while you become completely blind to the lucrative opportunities that are circling right above your head. The wealth is already there. The universe has already arranged massive financial windfalls for you. The blessing is not missing. Your internal receiver is simply tuned to the wrong station. Imagine a broken radio playing harsh static while a beautiful symphony is broadcasting on a clear channel that is just one simple dial away. You are listening to the static of the drifter. You must tune your mind to the wealthy frequency of the Creator. And this is not a psychological metaphor. This is a cold and hard biological fact. You cannot outwill a misprogrammed mind. You can push. You can grind. You can force yourself to wake up at 4 in the morning, but if your internal frequency is broadcasting poverty, your external world will remain painfully poor. This is the universal law. It is as real and as unforgiving as the law of gravity. Acknowledge this truth right now. Stop fighting against the invisible current and learn how to direct it. Listen to me carefully. The pain you feel right now is not a punishment. It is an urgent alarm clock. It is the universe violently shaking you awake because you have settled for a life that is far below your true potential as a conscious builder. You were placed here to build a massive empire. You were placed here to leave a legacy. But you cannot build a kingdom while thinking like a peasant. You must elevate your state. Tonight, when you lay your heavy head on the pillow, you will not be the same person. You will no longer surrender your mind to the anxiety of the drifter. You will take absolute command. You will instruct your subconscious contractor to build wealth, massive clarity, and unshakable power. But to do this effectively, you must understand the exact biological barrier standing in your way. You must see the hidden enemy. Here is the brutal truth that the elite do not want you to know. The reason the universe responds to the 1% is not because they work harder than you. It is not because they visualize better, and it certainly is not because they possess stronger discipline. The gap between your current bank account and the life of the elite is entirely biological. Deep inside the center of your brain is a tiny region. It is a walnut-sized piece of anatomy known as the hippocampus. In the insanely wealthy, this region is thick and highly developed. It is constantly broadcasting a microscopic frequency that literally pulls money and lucrative opportunities toward them like a giant vacuum. They do not chase success. They simply let the wealth flow to them effortlessly because their internal receiver is fully active. But for the average person, the reality is much darker. Because you were not born into an 8-figure family, you inherited a severe biological disadvantage. Science officially calls it a shrunken hippocampus. This is the root of your exhaustion. Instead of broadcasting a powerful wealth frequency, your brain is trapped broadcasting a survival wave. And the modern world is deliberately designed to keep it exactly that way. The endless stacks of bills and the exhausting hustle culture keep you completely trapped in perpetual anxiety. Every time you stress over money, this tiny region shrinks a little more. Your natural God-given ability to attract abundance is pushed deeper and deeper into dormancy. This is why you can read every single self-help book on the market with 0 results. You practice the law of attraction for years, but nothing changes. You expect to manifest massive wealth while your internal biological receiver is completely powered down. You end up chasing money endlessly while the drifter is left to struggle in the dark. It is a biological block passed down from generation to generation. It quietly sabotages your highest potential while you blame yourself for not working hard enough. Most men will go to their graves believing they just lacked the right business idea. You are not most men. You are the creator. And remember the question I asked you to hold a few minutes ago. I asked, what if your struggle was just a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? You are about to see that the answer is not only scientifically proven, but it is closer than you could ever imagine. The biological lock has a hidden key. The drifter ignores the science and returns to his grueling labor. He thinks he can sweat his way to $1 billion. He thinks that breaking his back will somehow change the frequency of his mind, but physical labor cannot alter a shrunken hippocampus. You must step back and recognize the rigged game you have been forced to play for decades. You must become the sovereign commander of your internal state. When your hippocampus is shrunken, every thought filters through a lens of fear. You see scarcity everywhere you look. You see competitors instead of partners. You perceive threats instead of divine synchronicities. And because you see fear, you command the universe to give you more fear. This is the exact cycle that keeps the middle class trapped forever. They hustle and grind from sunrise to sunset. They exhaust their physical bodies while their brains broadcast a loud signal of desperation. The universe hears the desperation and answers with poverty. Wealth cannot enter a house that is broadcasting a loud signal of absolute survival. The 1% operate on a completely different plane of existence. Their thick and highly developed hippocampus allows them to see the invisible season. They know the universe works by law and not by a clock. They remain totally calm when the bank account is empty because they understand that their frequency dictates their future reality. They expect abundance. They command their wealth to materialize. And because they hold that frequency without wavering, the world has no choice but to bend to their disciplined mind. You must understand that your past failures are not a reflection of your true worth. They are simply the physical symptoms of a suppressed biological wave. The world demands your constant attention to keep you weak. It feeds you negative news and artificial panic to ensure your survival wave stays highly active. A mind in survival mode is a mind that can be easily controlled. But you are the mental gatekeeper. You must ruthlessly cut off the external noise and protect your sacred inner temple today. You cannot afford the luxury of a single negative thought. Every negative thought shrinks your wealth receiver even further. You must guard your mind like a fortress. You must stop consuming the fear of the masses and start building the foundation of your new empire. The path to absolute power requires a ruthless separation from the ordinary drifter. The Creator takes full responsibility for his biological state. He does not cry about his generational trauma. He does not beg the universe to change his circumstances. He identifies the broken mechanism and he seeks the exact protocol to fix it. He knows that his mind is the only tool that truly matters in this grand and eternal game of life and wealth. You must decide today that you will no longer operate on the survival wave. You will refuse to let a microscopic piece of anatomy dictate your entire destiny. You will rewrite the internal code. You will expand your capacity to receive. But the question remains how a man can actually repair a shrunken hippocampus without spending years in a clinical laboratory. How did the greatest minds in history bypass this exact biological trap before modern neuroscience even existed? Men like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford did not have access to brain scans. They did not have modern clinical data. Yet they somehow managed to tune their minds to the exact same frequency that the top-tier billionaires use today. Let us look to the example of the historical titans. Men like Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla did not have modern brain scans. They did not understand the clinical definition of a shrunken hippocampus. Yet they built massive empires that changed the world forever, because they intuitively understood that wealth is not created through exhausting physical labor. They knew the universe works by law and not by a ticking clock. The drifter believes that Edison succeeded because he worked 24 hours a day. This is a massive lie sold to the working class. Edison slept strategically to access a powerful brainwave, and he used his subconscious mind to solve complex problems while his physical body rested in total silence. When Edison faced an impossible challenge, he did not panic. He did not let the survival wave take control of his reality. Instead, he sat in his chair and allowed himself to drift into the twilight state. This is the exact state where the brain broadcasts the frequency of pure abundance, and he boldly commanded his mind to find the ultimate answer. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor who builds exactly what you instruct it to before sleep. Edison handed his internal contractor the blueprints for massive success and infinite wealth. He woke up with the exact ideas needed to build his empire. The drifter goes to sleep with a head full of terrified worries, but the creator goes to sleep with a clear purpose. Nikola Tesla operated on this exact same biological frequency. Tesla claimed that his brain was only a receiver in the vast universe. He believed there was a core of infinite intelligence from which we obtain immense knowledge. He did not force his brilliant inventions into existence by struggling, but he simply tuned his mental receiver to the right station and downloaded them. Tesla understood that every single thought is a powerful seed. Every physical action is water, and your reality is the inevitable harvest. When you tune your mind to the frequency of absolute certainty, the universe must respond. It is law. It is not a lucky coincidence, because these titans were actively growing their hippocampus and broadcasting a powerful magnetic force. They spent years mastering the delicate art of mental dominion. They isolated themselves from the toxic noise of the ordinary masses. But you are living in a completely different era of human history. The modern world is aggressively loud and terrifyingly fast. You are bombarded with endless fear and digital anxiety every single second of your waking life. The noise is deafening. The average man cannot simply sit in a quiet chair and reach the twilight state. Your shrunken hippocampus is screaming in absolute terror. The survival wave is too deeply entrenched in your neural pathways. You try to meditate and your mind violently rebels against the silence. You attempt to visualize wealth, but your brain only shows you terrifying images of total bankruptcy. You need a powerful mechanism to bypass this conscious resistance. You need a way to force your brain into that specific state of wealth attraction. Before we go any further, I have to share a breakthrough that changes everything. This is something the elite billionaires have spent vast fortunes to keep strictly hidden, because they want you kept in the dark forever. A rogue neuroscientist, formerly working on highly classified CIA experiments, recently leaked a shocking discovery. He and a team of top-tier researchers found a way to wake up that dormant wealth frequency. They found a way to rapidly reverse the terrible effects of a shrunken hippocampus, and they did not do it through decades of exhausting meditation or relentless daily journaling. They discovered something infinitely simpler and far more powerful than traditional therapy. They discovered a precise and perfectly engineered 7-minute sound frequency. When listened to, this specific acoustic wave completely bypasses your conscious mind. It directly stimulates that tiny ancient region of your brain and forces it to wake up from its long dormancy. 4 independent neuroscience labs have already verified this incredible biological mechanism. Researchers on the elite campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing this exact brainwave activation right now. They found that once this specific frequency is heard, it forces the brain to stop broadcasting the survival wave, and it immediately flips the switch on your natural ability to attract wealth. It is a completely effortless at-home ritual that requires 0 hard work. You just need 7 minutes a day, and the energetic shift begins the very first time you listen. I will tell you exactly what this is called and how you can access this frequency for yourself before this message ends. But first, you must prepare your mental architecture to actually receive this power. A restored frequency can open the door to massive abundance, but your mind must walk through it. You cannot hand a powerful weapon to a weak and terrified drifter. You must become the sovereign commander of your own destiny right now. You must act as if you are already the absolute master of your fate and make a firm decision that you will never return to the old life. Stop what you are doing and listen to this command. Write this down in your mind and never forget it. I am the architect of my reality, and I refuse to let fear dictate my future. Say it until your physical body believes it. The universe does not respond to begging or crying because it responds exclusively to the absolute authority of a man who knows his worth. Do you want to win this grand game of life? Do you want to taste the kind of massive success that makes average men highly uncomfortable? Then you must stop playing by their broken rules. The masses wait for a lucky miracle to save them from poverty. The 1% use a specific scientific instrument to dominate their reality, and you are standing at the edge of your transformation. Now we must make this intensely practical. You know the biological mechanism that has been holding you back for decades. You understand that your shrunken hippocampus is broadcasting a desperate frequency of absolute survival. But knowing the problem is only the very first step. The drifter accumulates endless knowledge and does nothing, but the creator executes. You must begin the aggressive practice of cosmic housekeeping tonight. You cannot build a glorious empire on a foundation of mental garbage. Look at the information you consume every single day. You watch the negative news. You scroll through endless feeds of anger and manufactured panic. And while you do this, your mind is absorbing poison like a dry sponge. Every piece of fear you consume is actively feeding your survival wave. You must become the ruthless mental gatekeeper of your reality. You must lock the doors of your mind to anyone and anything that preaches poverty or limitation. The masses will call you cold or arrogant. Let them talk. A sovereign commander does not apologize for protecting his sacred fortress. I command you to perform a massive purge right now. Stop what you are doing and examine your immediate circle. Identify the drifters who constantly complain about how unfair the world is. You must violently cut the energetic cord that connects you to their toxic frequency. If you swim with people who are actively drowning, they will inevitably pull you down. Close your eyes for a brief moment and visualize your mental space. See it as a pristine room of pure white marble. Now look at the dirt that the outside world has tracked into your beautiful room. You must sweep it out. You must protect this space with your very life because your wealth depends entirely on its absolute cleanliness. Open your eyes and decide. The most critical battleground of your life is the final 15 minutes before you fall asleep. This is your ultimate night ritual. Most men spend this time reviewing their failures or worrying about tomorrow. They hand a blueprint of complete chaos to their subconscious contractor, and then they wonder why they wake up feeling completely destroyed and exhausted. You will never do this again. From this night forward, your bed is a sacred altar of creation. When you lie down, you must completely disconnect from the physical world. No phone, no television, no arguments. You must enter a state of cold calmness and absolute stillness. This is the exact moment you bypass the conscious noise and speak directly to the universe. You must command your subconscious with a definite chief aim. The universe does not respond to vague desires or scattered thoughts. You cannot ask for a little more money or a slightly better job. That is the language of a beggar. You must demand a specific and massive outcome with the absolute certainty of a king. You must formulate one single majestic goal. Write this down in your mind and engrave it in your soul. Say it aloud right now. I am the architect of my destiny, and I command massive wealth to flow into my life. Feel the heavy vibration of those words in your chest. Let the power of that statement shock your nervous system. You are not praying for a better life. You are literally pulling it into existence. As you drift into the twilight state, you must feel the reality of your command already fulfilled. Do not think of the wealth as something coming in the distant future. The future does not exist in the subconscious mind. There is only the eternal now. You must feel the cold, hard cash in your hands today. You must feel the immense relief of absolute financial freedom. Let that feeling of profound gratitude wash over your tired body. Let it sink deep into your heavy bones. Your subconscious contractor will take this feeling of wealth and work tirelessly through the night to build your new reality. While your physical body rests, your mind will be scanning the universe for the exact synchronicities required to make it absolutely real. When you wake up, you must maintain this powerful frequency. You must act as if the wealth is already yours. The drifter wakes up and immediately checks his bank account to confirm his poverty. The creator wakes up and walks with the unshakable posture of a billionaire. He speaks with authority. He moves with extreme purpose. He refuses to bow down to circumstances. The external world will constantly test you. You will face unexpected bills and sudden, terrifying obstacles. The universe will push you to see if you will abandon your new frequency and return to the comfortable survival wave. This is the critical moment where most men fail. They panic and drop their crown. They allow a temporary setback to destroy their permanent identity. You will not fail. You will look at the obstacle with supreme indifference. You will treat every setback as mere data rather than a personal defeat. A wrong decision is always better than no decision at all. You will keep moving forward because drifting is the ultimate enemy. You will force the physical world to catch up to the massive empire you have built within. This level of mental discipline requires an unstoppable force of will. It requires you to operate completely independent of daily motivation. Motivation is a cheap emotion that disappears the moment things get hard. But conviction is a permanent state of being. You must become a man of absolute conviction. You must trust the unseen laws more than your own eyes. The masses will never understand this rigorous path. They will call you delusional. They will say you have lost your mind because you no longer relate to their constant suffering. But here is the truth that no one ever tells you. You are not losing your mind. You are finally losing your faulty programming. You are shedding the heavy skin of the exhausted drifter forever. You have the instruction manual, you know the exact laws, you have the daily ritual required to protect your energy and program your subconscious. But knowing all of this is completely useless if your biological receiver remains blocked. You can practice the night ritual perfectly, but a shrunken hippocampus will constantly fight against your conscious commands. You cannot fight a biological war with just positive thoughts. You must arm yourself with the right scientific instrument. We are approaching the final boundary, the boundary between those who listen and those who actually conquer. I am about to show you exactly how to bypass the physical struggle and instantly activate your true wealth frequency tonight. Prepare yourself. The time for drifting is officially over. You have heard the unforgiving law of the universe. You now know that every excuse you have ever made was nothing but a shadow. Tonight, you must make a terrifying and glorious choice. Will you return to the chaos of the masses, or will you step into the quiet power of the 1% because your legacy demands it? You must decide. You cannot outwill a misprogrammed mind. You must completely recode it. A microscopic wealth attraction frequency is naturally active in the top 1%. It is driven entirely by a thick and highly developed region called the hippocampus, and classified CIA research confirmed this biological reality decades ago. 4 independent neuroscience labs verified it, and researchers on the elite campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing it right now. Dr. Thomas Summers is a rogue neuroscientist. He refused to let billionaires keep this biological cheat code strictly hidden. His dedicated team transformed the complex clinical protocol for massive hippocampus growth into one simple audio track. Before I tell you what they built, I must tell you about 2 people who used it. Emma was a former nurse from California who felt her family was living under a dark financial curse. She was utterly exhausted and drowning in massive debt. After just 3 days of listening, she broke the painful cycle completely because she finally quit her stressful job and sold her house. She got an offer way over the asking price and now travels the world on passive income. Michael was a former policeman in Florida who used it to scale his struggling business, and within 5 days he quadrupled his high-paying clients effortlessly. He found himself networking with Palm Beach elites who put him on national television. His journey was effortlessly crazy. This happened because of what Dr. Summers and his researchers finally discovered. They call it the billionaire brainwave. It is not a generic manifestation app or a cheap motivation tape. It is a highly engineered 7-minute binaural sound wave, and it is designed to directly stimulate your hippocampus to pull your internal receiver entirely out of long dormancy. That is the entirety of the work required from you. You simply listen for 7 minutes in the quiet morning. You keep your headphones on and your eyes closed while you sip your coffee. You do not journal and you do not repeat forced affirmations endlessly because you simply let the precise frequency rewire your brain to receive massive and undeniable wealth. The billionaire brainwave is definitely not for everyone, but it is strictly for the chosen creator who has already done the hard inner work. It is for the sovereign commander who understands that his lack of wealth is a blocked biological channel. Private neuroacoustic sessions to reverse a shrunken hippocampus cost hundreds of dollars per hour in a clinical setting. Elite billionaires invest massive fortunes to access this exact frequency behind closed doors. What Dr. Summers leaked to the public delivers the exact same neurological shift in 7 minutes, and it is available to you today for a tiny fraction of its true value. This energetic exchange costs less than a few cups of coffee, and 4 powerful bonuses are included. You receive a guide to managing massive wealth called the Warren Buffett Pyramid, and you also get a brilliant breakdown of 7 lazy millionaire habits. You will receive an emergency quick cash manifestation audio track to attract immediate lump sums. Finally, you get an inspiring collection of 500 billionaire success stories to keep your mind perfectly anchored in pure abundance. Here is the deeper truth about waiting to take action. The immense wealth and lucrative opportunities you have been praying for are already circling you right now. Your biological receiver is simply broken, but the Creator who restores their frequency today finally sees the financial windfalls that were always waiting right in their immediate path. Delaying means letting your grand inheritance remain entirely invisible. Do not look for this powerful frequency on YouTube or Spotify. The tracks circulating on those public platforms have zero binaural entrainment technology encoded. They are incredibly dangerous fakes meant to distract you, while the authentic version is available only through the securely protected official link. This comes with the billionaire's ironclad promise. The universe requires absolutely no financial risk from you today, because it is an energetic exchange governed by complete trust. If you do not experience a physical and undeniable increase in your wealth and luck, every single penny is returned. Find the link placed in the description and the pinned comment below. The tool does not replace your fierce ambition. It simply repairs your biological receiver so the wealth you visualize can finally materialize into physical reality, and it allows you to step into your true power. Abundance is your divine birthright, and the universe requires no massive transaction. What the researchers built is just one powerful accelerator on your journey. If your sharp intuition confirms that the frequency tool described earlier is the missing key, the path remains open. But whether you choose that path or not, we must go deeper into preparing your mind. You will find it in the description below. That is the final time I will mention it. What remains now belongs entirely to the sacred sealing of your absolute new mindset. The drifter will hear this entire message and do absolutely nothing, and he will inevitably return to his invisible prison of endless debt and terrifying anxiety. But you will seal your decision right now. Write your definite chief aim in the comments below. Let those words be the binding contract you sign with the universe tonight. State your grand purpose aloud. Command your destiny. Subscribe to this channel if you refuse to live an average life, and return to this lesson every single night until your new reality completely hardens into physical fact. Stand up and claim your rightful throne. You are the sovereign architect of your reality. The world has absolutely no choice but to bend to your disciplined and incredibly powerful mind.